welcome back to my author commentary for A Prince of Song and Shade. Today we're up to chapter 2. We're switching point of views from Prince Kewin and the Shadowhawk to Talyn as she arrives home in Ryathl. So this is the first sight we've seen of the Twin Thrones and its capital city Ryathl since Talyn left right at the start of A Tale of Stars and Shadow. And in this book we get a little bit more insight and look into the culture and the surroundings and the vibe and the feel of the Twin Thrones, specifically Kalumia, which was fun for me as an author to expand the world a little bit. So we begin the chapter right as Talyn arrives home. She heads off to report in at the King's Shield barracks, is told that the first shield, Lark Sienna, is away. She assumes he's avoiding her. She then goes straight to see her closest friends, Cinia and Leviana, the Callanan warrior pair. They head off to have a drink together. And the next morning, as Talyn heads out to track down Sienna so she can talk to him, she's intercepted at the gates by an old Callanan master, the one that trained her and Sari when they were apprentices at Callanan Tower. He wants her to have a chat with Shia Thornhill, the first blade of the Callanan, who has a very interesting request for Talyn. She essentially wants Talyn to go back to Mithranar as a spy, infiltrate Vengeance, and figure out what the hell is going on there, because the Callanan are incredibly concerned, even though they're not telling Talyn the reason why. So a fun chapter that throws Talyn straight back into things. From an author's perspective, like I said, it's fun to share or expand the world a little bit. We get Talyn coming from that very hot, humid, sticky jungle kind of environment in Mithranar that we just got dropped back into in the previous chapter, to a much more open, rolling landscapes, beautiful coastal, warm but much drier than Mithranar. And I know it's really interesting when Talyn has that drink in the inn with her two friends, Leviana and Cinia, that there's something not quite right, there's something off, and she eventually pins it's the fact there's no music, because in Dock City and in the Citadel, music is constantly playing kind of on a low volume in the background, and that immediately feels off, which starts to give you a sense of how much Talyn really connected with being in Mithranar, and how much she's already starting to notice the differences back home, and that maybe back home isn't quite as much home as it was when she left. That first interaction too, where she greets the two Callanan pair at their office or their rooms in Callanan Tower, is a nice little play out of how the Callanan warrior bond works, and how it used to be with Talyn and Sari, and why the grief of losing her still resonates. There's an instinctive banter, an instinctive camaraderie, an instinctive trust. Callanan partners know each other well, they trust each other implicitly, and they, in most cases, live life together in a lot of senses. And we get that little bantery play out with Leviana and Cinia when Talyn goes to see them. And of course, Talyn's done a lot of healing in her time in Mithranar, and that's fairly obvious quite quickly. The last conversation she had in a bar with Leviana and Cinia in the early stages of A Tale of Stars and Shadow, she was defensive. She didn't want to talk about Sari. The other two were clearly worried about her, but not sure how to really help. But in this scene here, almost 12 months on, Talyn is essentially going, yeah, I know that I have work to do, I know, but I am getting better. And she's able to talk about it and acknowledge it. And I think that makes her friends feel a lot better. And then, of course, Talyn has the meeting with Thornhill, the first blade, and with her old master, and they ask her to go back to Mithranar as a spy and infiltrate Vengeance, because they think the Shadowhawk is connected with the concerning the reporting they've received about Ezerdia potentially being smuggled internationally by Vengeance. Now, Talyn knows that there's a lot more going on there. We know, as the readers, like I did warn, there will be a lot of spoilers in these author commentaries. We know that obviously the Shadowhawk is not working for Vengeance. Vengeance is a criminal gang in and of itself, but is also having its strings pulled by Firthlander interests, shall we say. Maybe we won't be too spoilery on this, since we're still on a Prince of Song and Shade. But there's definitely a lot going on there. The Callanan are worried. They want Talyn to go back. She refuses to come back to the Callanan. And I think that's being a Callanan again, I don't think will ever be a reality for Talyn. She simply, it will not has not and won't interest her without Sari at her side as her Callanan partner. And even, I think, once we get to the end of this series and Talyn has really done her healing, she has a new Callanan partner. In the new series, as it rolls on, we'll see that the Talyn that heals from Sari's loss is a new Talyn, a different Talyn who has a different life. The Callanan will never be what she is again. Having said that, obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean she can't help here. And as we go into the next few chapters, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, a fun chapter to drop Talyn straight back in. She's home and Aura almost immediately being asked to go and involve herself back in events overseas again, which I think for the reader and for me as the writer is probably a lot of fun. But for Talyn herself, probably a little bit challenging given she's just kind of started on the healing path and just starting to feel better again and probably just wants like some moments of peace back at home to continue that journey. One other thing we also get in this chapter is a few more Dumnorix family members mentioned. So Alira, who is Saur's daughter, she is the Kingshield Guard to which Talyn has been assigned now that she's back from Mithranar and finished her posting there. And we get mention of Ryathl still operating as Horse Lord in the mountains. But there are a few various Dumnorix family members who will come in and out of the series as we go along. So it's nice to be able to start introducing them now too. All right, so I hope you found that commentary interesting. If there are particular things you'd like me to talk about in these chapter summaries or the author commentaries, please drop a comment in the below. I'd love to make sure these are kind of tailored for what you're interested in. Otherwise, I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you're finding these great too, and I'll see you soon for chapter 3. Have a great day.